get all the milk.
Gold Derby-ites, I'm Rob Licuria. I'm here with Amanda Spears. We're here to talk about episode 312 of Outlander, the Bakra. The Artemis finally reaches Jamaica, bringing Jamie and Claire much closer to their goal. During a lavish ball on the island, the Frasers encounter old allies as well as former adversaries who threaten to derail their mission. This was written by Luke Schelhaas and directed by Charlotte Brändström. And Amanda, what do you reckon about episode 312, the Bakra?
Well, I felt like I accidentally changed the channel and ended up in a David Fincher show or like a vampire movie, because Gallus making her big, I know I'm probably not saying it right, making her big return, bathing in blood. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe this is one of those where I need to read that chapter from the book.
Yeah. I was like, am I watching True Blood or something? And my first thought was to be really facetious and say, finally, some nudity. You just don't get enough nudity on this show. But at least it was, for a change, it was female nudity. We don't see that very often, actually, to be completely honest. That was my first thought about Gallus. But yes, she's back. And to me, it was a welcome return. She's a good antagonist to have.
Yeah, I like her. She's got some kind of mission still going on about Scotland, but I mean, she's from the future. She's got to know it's just not going to happen. I mean,
well, she's trying. She feels strongly for the Jacobite cause, and she really wants to change history. She wants a Scottish person on the throne in Scotland. But that brings me to this point. I've got to admit, as a show watcher, not book reader, I was getting really confused about Gallus and about who she was and what she was doing there and what her motivations were. And I had to just look her up and kind of read a few spoilers about her past and where she ends up in the series. And then now that when I understood that as the episode progressed, I really got into it and really enjoyed that aspect of the show. But had I not read about her, I would have been completely lost. And I'm wondering if that's an issue with this show and how it can kind of explain things to new viewers who haven't read the books. What do you think about that?
I do kind of agree, because I feel like that story she told about after the witch burning, maybe we needed a Gallus episode.
Yeah.
If they were going to introduce her, maybe it's one of those things where, and I don't know because I don't read the books, maybe it was just too close to what the book did, that maybe they needed to step back and give her a good 20-minute chunk of how this happened, because it sounds like it was this amazing story. Because the last time we saw her, Sans finale last season, she was being let off to be burned at the stake.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is a big story kind of there.
Yeah.
Maybe needed a little bit more than her just telling us.
Yeah, I think we needed a little bit of background wouldn't have hurt, because, we know that she has this past with Jamie and Claire. She's a time traveler. She's got a complicated link between her and maybe Roger or whoever it is in the future. She's got a penchant for killing her husbands because she feels that's the way she can get through the stones. She has a real grip on the young male virgin demographic in Jamaica, pardon the pun. And so I just
oh my God.
Yeah. Why does she want the jewels? The truth tea that the witch doctor made for her, all that stuff was really cool. I really got into it, but I was kind of thinking, what is happening? I need more information.
I think this is one where, as much as we love Jamie and Claire, and everybody just take a deep breath and just think about this from a story aspect. Maybe it needed to focus more on what she was trying to do and accomplish, so she didn't seem like such an anomaly. And maybe it's not like she's completely nuts. Clearly she has something going. Clearly she has something. I think if there's ever a character, when I think about all we know about her, that I wouldn't mind having an episode about just her, she might be the one to kind of do that with. What was her goal in going through those stones the first time? How did she get derailed and just end up married to this doctor or judge? Excuse me, who's a judge? And now I mean, because there's clearly a lot that's happened to the other time traveler, and she's never tried to go back. So what she's trying to accomplish,
Mm.
I don't know how she's helping Scotland in her goal when she's in Jamaica.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are great, valid answers to that. But what we're trying to say to the people out there who have read the books is we haven't read them and we don't quite get it. And that's an issue for the show. Even though we love the show and we will continue watching it till the very end, that, you know, it's nice to be slightly critical. It can be constructive in our feedback, and that's the feedback at the moment. Although there's a lot about this episode that I really liked. And so there's three major highlights that I want to talk to you about. The first one was the reunion with Lord John. I really liked that. I didn't see it coming. I forgot, or I didn't realize that he was going to be the governor of Jamaica. So we get to see him back in the show, and he's really good. He's a good actor, and he really plays this part very well. And that weird, awkward connection that he has with Jamie is cool. Like it kind of made us pay attention to this character. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it is cool, and I liked how Katrina was like, "Oh, I've met you for the first time, but you're clearly interested in my husband. Like,
Yeah.
Clearly you're not wearing this brooch or sapphire for no reason."
Yeah. Do you think Claire is wary of John and the way that John looks and speaks to Jamie because of Jamie's experience with Black Jack? Do you think that could occur to her, or is it more just about stay away from my man?
I think it's more like he's in a position of power and he knows Jamie's past.
Right.
He knows he was a Jacobite. He knows he was a leader who was, in jail for many years. He's clearly someone who could cause damage if he chooses to. Yes,
that's a very good point. So that was all very interesting. I love that aspect of it. The other, there's another highlight is Claire lashing out at the slave traders. This is Claire in rescuer mode again. She's done this a few times this season already. She's very passionate about justice and doing the right thing, even if it might hurt her. And yeah, I really liked how that side of it, there's a dark history in that part of the world with the slave trade, as we all very well know. And that was nice to bring that to light a little.
It was. I wonder if she should have thought maybe I shouldn't start a riot in the middle of town, because, they are trying to keep somewhat of a low cover.
Yeah.
She knows people are after Jamie, and I understand, and I'm not saying slavery is good, but she knows what time period she's in and what's going on, and that's not their mission. If that's their mission, then I think they would have approached it differently. But they did save that guy, so that was
they did. And that was
nice. Like, she can't save everybody. She knows she can't save everybody.
She wants to. She's passionate. Like in that one, in a few episodes ago, she knocked that assailant over in the head and then tried to save him by drilling a hole in his skull. Like that whole storyline we didn't really enjoy that storyline because, again, that's not in her interest to be focusing on that. But she cares about people. She cares about doing the right thing, even if it's going to hurt her. And again, she's doing it. Because now the profile ain't going to be that low if you're starting a riot.
Yeah. It's like all of that stuff leads up to Jamie being captured at the end or seized at the end of the episode. It's like, of course. I mean, I want people to do the right thing. I'm not advocating for slavery. It's a horrible, awful thing that happened. But if you're trying to keep Jamie safe, you guys are not keeping a very low profile.
Yeah, and I guess that got us to where we needed to get to by the end of the episode. We have one more to go. So what's going to happen with all of that and with Galus? But I think for me, the absolute highlight of the whole episode, to be completely honest, it's related to the reunion with John, was Jamie asking about Will and tearing up about him. That got me. That got me huge.
Does he still remember me?
Yeah, he teared up. Sam Heughan proves once again he ain't just a pretty face. He's a brilliant actor. He did that beautifully.
And even at the end when he pulled her close and he's like, keep the children, like he handed her the portraits and I was like, oh, that's so smart. He's so good. I love the end where she's like, I saved all your lives. You can't just He looks like he's 16.
Yeah. Incredible. Such a good
Oh.
performance. So that was a good episode. I didn't mind it. The show is now ramping up. I don't know what we're going to get in this finale, but I'm guessing there'll be a lot of stuff about Galus. And yeah, I'm told, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm told that we're going to get a couple of surprises. So
Yes,
good.
I got the same email.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen.
And let's just talk, since we did have our most opulent episode. I'm sorry to interrupt your closing.
No, not at all. Not at all. Go for it.
Are we still on the same page as 5 for their costume production design, or do you think they should
100%.
go? Yeah, I mean, that dress, it was beautiful the first time she wore it, but changing it a little, it's not going to get them a nod.
There's been a whole discussion on the internet, on Twitter, by the way, about this dress. I'm not going to get into that because that's kind of gone over my head. But in terms of production design and costume design, I've got to say, this is another bit of constructive feedback. I found the green screen when they first arrived at the dock was a rare misstep on this show. It looked so not real and so painterly and not in a good way. And I just thought, that
might be more of a visual effects issue.
Maybe, yeah. But in terms of like the production design, this show is one of the best ones. John Gary Steele is like a master, and if I was him, I'd be looking at episode 5 or maybe the print shot, because that was incredible
for production design. But I still think with costume, you've got to give them 2 centuries.
Yeah, you're right, and that's exactly what 5 does.
And even, I know people are going to say, well, The Crown might get 60s and 70s or 50s and 60s. We're talking about the 1960s and the 18th century. Like, those are 2 completely different ones where it will make a little bit of a difference.
I've got to say, to be completely honest, last Emmys, The Crown won costume design and beat The Handmaid's Tale, which I thought was just insane. And so
I could see it coming.
Next year, I expect Anne Crabtree from The Handmaid's Tale to get her much-deserved Emmy. I
think that just looking ahead, because I just saw the trailer for the next season of American Crime Story, I think we need to look out for the Gianni Versace fashion. I mean, it's going to be a really, like, as we all know, I'll lean into it. I'm a girl. Yeah. I love the costume category. Shock and awe. I think if it competed in the sci-fi one with like Westworld, Handmaid's Tale would have won. But since it competes with all those historical ones, it's just up against the budgets.
Lavish. Yeah. And
the lavish costumes of Feud. I think if we saw the vote total, it probably was in 3rd place. Marcus.
And like that.
And that's why when I think of like circle back to Outlander for a second.
Yes, let's please do
that. I think Outlander needs to do something that only they can do. Yeah. And if they're going to be competitive with Game of Thrones and American Crime Story, that's where they're going to have a little bit of an edge, where I think the guild will vote for them for episode 5.
Well, and the reason why we talk about this, everybody, because people get annoyed that we just focus on this stuff and not on the performances and their awards aspects, is because we're realists and we know that Outlander is going to struggle at the Emmys. It always does, unfortunately.
We're awards experts, too.
That's right. Well, that's what we try to be. And Outlander, no doubt, will be competitive in categories like production design, costume design, perhaps even cinematography, music, where it's been nominated before. So they're the categories where it absolutely deserves a good run and perhaps even a win. And
drama guest actor might be their best.
The best movies might get their coup, and depending on who else we see in the finale, there's lots to look forward to. And I wish we could say Katrina Balfe and Sam Heughan are shoo-ins for nominations, but that's just simply not the case because of how competitive those categories are. It has no reflection.
It's not even just how competitive the categories are. It's what Starz decides to do also. I mean, they have a J.K. Simmons series coming up.
That's right.
And if I were I know everyone's going to hate me for saying it, but he's an Oscar winner. And if they're looking for their first serial nominee, that might be a little bit easier of a get than Sam Heughan. I love Sam. I want Sam to be nominated, but it's going to be difficult. Those categories are stacked.
They are.
And we don't know everything that's coming. We don't.
No, we don't. It's very early in the season. So look, next week we'll wrap up the whole series, season, sorry, as well as the finale. We'll talk about Golden Globes because that's coming. Yes, so lots to look forward to. Thank you once again, Amanda, for joining me. And everybody, please stay tuned to Gold Derby. You know that this is the place to be for Outlander discussion and Outlander awards speculation. See you later.